it's just such a challenge. Like even music I haven't sung enough. I just thank you. But a cough, and that really that disrupts. Yeah. Yeah, I heard you like taught a class this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can't believe you did that.
It was fine. I taught you last night.
Are you okay?
I'm just like, no, it's good. It was really nice. I miss teaching so much.
Okay. I was like, I can't believe she gave up her sadhana.
Well, I wasn't planning on coming. Alistair told me it was okay if I didn't come this morning because I was, didn't get home till 10:30 last night. But I woke up before my alarm anyway, so I was like, well, I might as well go. So I wasn't, but I still caught a lot of golden things that happened. They're just too nice.
Yeah, there's two from like last night. You missed it so much.
Okay.
6:40.
So, let's get going because we don't have a lot of time. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. That's always the thing. There's never enough time. And yet, really, there's always enough time. Hi. I've missed you all. I'm so happy to see you. It was something too about being away for check-in Friday. I'm like, I don't know what's happening with all of them. So hopefully. I wonder if Austin videotaped or that's what I'll have to watch that site. Can catch up with everyone's lives. And I know. Now is Annika back today?
No.
She didn't report. Did she report in today?
She did.
She
it's not going to be any point today.
Okay. Cool. I didn't even think to check Facebook today. So other than Tim, is this our whole group?
Yeah, I think so.
Rebecca is gone today, right?
Oh.
She is. Becca and Rebecca were gone today. Yeah. Becca wrote this morning she didn't sleep and she's haven't been feeling good, so she's gonna sleep in a little bit and then drive home.
And Angelina's not going to be here.
Right.
Oh, it didn't work out. She's not going to be here.
Right.
Oh, no Angelina all day today?
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Oh my goodness. Well,
I don't know if the
good job being
Vitamins-
here. Those of you who are here.
I must have missed you.
It was a rough weekend for people.
Agreed.
So, I heard restorative went well yesterday, and the morning went well yesterday, and how was today? Great. Good. Well, so the plan for today, did Austin talk to you at all about today's plan at all?
A little.
A little? Okay, I'll go into it a little more. So we will get going in just a couple of minutes because our timeline's actually pretty tight right now. We have until 12:30, and you will have a partner, and you and your partner, one of you will be like the client first, and one will be the yoga specialist, and then you'll switch, but you'll go through, and this is to really just kind of be a final way for you to bring in all of the skills you've developed over the last 10 months, really, 9 months, whatever, 8 months, I guess, I don't know. And to consider everything that's in your toolbox now, right? Because there's so much more. Early on we were like, well, no joint freeing series and some mudras, but like that's grown and grown and grown, and you all can teach a yoga nidra now. You can do all of these different things. So, and you have experience with some restorative and things like that. So what you'll do today is sit down with your partner as if you have an hour with them and you haven't seen their intake form before. So your goal, you could go a little over an hour because we have until 12:30, but your goal is to go through that intake form, ask some questions, and then come up with a practice for them for today, as well as maybe a few suggestions for them going forward. So it'll be a little different than, when you work with a client and it's ongoing, that type of thing. This is more of a down and dirty, what it's like when you don't have a lot of time, you haven't had weeks to look at the intake form or days or even a night, and you're just going off of a little bit of like that gut instinct conversation with the person, and then all of these skills that you have and that you've developed. And then you'll switch. And then this afternoon we'll come back, and I'm going to reverse the order. I don't know what order it's on in there on Google, and Google's kind of mislabeled a little anyway, but maybe I won't change the order. We have our last Yoga Sutras, which is book 4, the whole book 4, and we have time to talk about workshops and to just kind of hone in and kind of clean up those ideas a little bit. And what's the other thing? Oh, feedback from this morning. Although when you get with your partner, your first thing you'll do is you'll sit down and you'll figure out your time. So like, oh, we have this much time, we want to allow for this much for feedback, this much for a break, so that gives us how much time. Does that make sense? Okay, and sorry, my brain doesn't feel like it's working quite right today. So you'll do that, and we'll do some group, just kind of a closing on that at the end, just kind of going around and like, what was the takeaway, what was it like for you, that kind of thing. And we have a pretty small group today, so that won't take too long. So we're doing those things, and then we'll talk about the last month, including, Austin told me you chose to do deep cleaning here. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Oh my gosh. And did you all get into that much with Austin yesterday? I know he was going to go over hard. So we have a little bit of time at the end, and what we can do is kind of plan that out a bit so that I can have whatever supplies I need to have ready. We're just kind of ready to go on that the Seva morning. And then it'll be the end of your 9th month. So it's, crazy. So today will be cool. It'll be fun to see you bring that all together. This is usually like the private, kind of on the fly sessions really, I think will highlight to you just how far you've come and how you can assess someone's needs and put together a practice for them that's really helpful and beneficial. So, any questions? Sure.
Just a thought. On that Seva morning, will we be working around ongoing classes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just in planning.
So we'll need to, exactly. This is part of what kept me up last night. Like, I need to sleep, but I'm like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be teacher training, and like, how are we gonna do that? But we'll figure it out. Yes.
We still have 7 in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Has everyone taught all their
No.
teaching? Okay. Yeah, so there's definitely sadhana then. And then that Friday, and Austin may have mentioned this, we will be doing Ramayana instead of today. And a check-in, but because that wasn't on the original schedule, it's up to you, although I hope you'll come at least for check-in, because it's the last one. So almost there. Way to go. I'm sure you're feeling it and ready, and also not ready even. Okay, so I would just say let's get started. Find a partner. I'd love to see you work with someone you haven't worked with as much. And I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to assign partners, but maybe just kind of mentally think,
There's 9 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there isn't. For some reason, I counted wrong because Tim was out of the room. We'll have one group of 3 that'll just have to break it up differently today. So who's willing to be in a group of 3? You're going to get a shorter practice, but you'll get to work with a partner. I'll just have you 3 ladies, and then everyone else partner off. And we can be down here, but we can also use upstairs if you do want to break away. The small studio's available. We just tried to get a lot of space for you for this today. If you really want to go in the crazy office, you can use the office. So feel free to spread out. And I'll be around if you need anything. I'm just kind of here if you have questions or whatever.
And our goal is to provide our partners with what they would be able to, with what we would be giving them from today, right? Like,
The goal is, so if someone wrote in and said, you know, I want a private yoga session, I just want one,
oh, okay.
which happens a lot, and you go, okay. And so you give them a private yoga session, but you also still want to look at all of their stuff. And they haven't turned in their form to you, which happens all the time. People forget to do their forms. Sometimes people in yoga teacher training forget to do their forms. And so you're just going to have a little bit of time to look at it and to discuss it, and then you give them a practice. So our group of 3, you'll kind of, the 2 of you working with the one, you'll consult with each other and you'll come up with an abbreviated practice. So you all will have to just monitor your time a little differently. Good?
Yeah.
All right.
12:30, you said?
Be done at 12:30, and and then we'll come back at 1:30 upstairs for the afternoon.
In the small studio?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, so plan on that. All right,
Thank you.
have fun. Enjoy it.
Math.
Yeah, so.
So,
Let's say 9:45 right now.
Yes.
It's our weekend.
It's our weekend, yeah, let's buddy up.
And a half hour.
so 2 hours and 45 minutes total.
Restored it.
So,
Filled in.
calculator.
Filled in like a 10-minute break or 5 minutes. Do we kind of make like bathroom review?
Yeah,
Like 15 minutes, I'd be like 5.
Yeah, so 5 minutes.
That did not.
I just want to reiterate one thing. I'm sorry to interrupt right when you get going. Because I didn't say this, I said this earlier, but do give them a couple of takeaways. You always want to give someone your work, even if you're never going to see them again, give them suggestions for things at home.
Like homework.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
And
That's
mental,
all.
emotional, physical, everything.
Well, you're going to do that anyway for this
Yeah.
practice. This practice, you're looking at all the koshas.
Okay.
So, for me, I would probably like to have my kosha chart out and do that whole thing, but you do what works for you. Okay. All right, now I'll let you go. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Okay, so like, depending on how soon we get started, we've got like 35 to 40 minutes.
We're 0.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like, if we can get started in 5 minutes, so we can have 40 minutes each.
Do you want to go to the bathroom? I would be much better in person.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess we need an
Well, can we look at your intake form?
That's like the realistic time that you would have, right?
I'm not sure it's in the right order.
Okay.
And then some of the questions, there's a couple that aren't answered. It's because I answered them on another page.
Okay.
One, here, I answered them somewhere else.
Okay.
And some of them, if they're not enough, some may not be enough.
Okay.
Well, we'll ask questions.
I didn't add the numbers.
What if I open one of those?
Oh, can we? Here, you go to the bathroom,
Yes. I'll soil myself in the middle of our console.
Feel better, Amber?
I'm feeling a lot better. Yeah, thank you for asking. I'm so glad. Yeah, this one really knocked me on my butt. So, and it was a surprise. Like, you know how sometimes you feel something going on? So I was just sitting, I was actually drinking a smoothie, which I know Leslie probably told you all not to drink, but whatever. I was drinking a smoothie, and all of a sudden I started sneezing, and I was like, it must be allergies. And within half an hour, I was like, I'm so sick. It was weird. Usually I can look back and be like, oh, it was coming on because I was really tired, and I was, you know, but it just like that.
It's a stressful time for you.
Yes.
On the cozy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the time to get sick.
I know, right? It reminded me of teaching because I'd always push through until break, and then the first day of break, I'd
It's like
get
your
sick.
It's like your body like knows it's okay. It's like, well, how can I at least inconvenience her?
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Although in this case, I'm like, okay, body, we're actually going to be busier right now, so like,
Oh, body.
yeah. But
I think I added the
that's good. I'm just glad it didn't last
Okay.
as long or was as bad as I thought it'd be.
heard you had a crazy fever though.
I didn't. It made me so achy, like my skin.
Yeah.
I've only had that a couple times in my life, and it was just it hurt. Like clothing hurt.
Yeah.
Like, it was just-
Toilet seats.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god, the achiness of just sitting down to the toilet seat. I was like, oh my gosh.
Cold and
This isn't,
hard.
Like, yeah. Oh.
Oh, I'm glad it's over.
Yeah. It's so good to see you all, though.
Yeah,
Thanks for
it's good
listening
to
to me
see you.
complain
So
about
sorry.
my illness.
Okay, we did not look at anything.
So glad. Hi, guys.
Yeah, I was talking to him, so they didn't hear
I
anything.
see.
Well, welcome. Well, thank you.
Bye.
Hi.
Sorry, it is kind of out of order, I'm not sure. That's yours.
Yeah.
No, no, I found it. It's yellow. That's before the summer.
I'm like, I hate animals. It's like a statue and you like go to like a petting zoo.
It's like a big production though. Because my cat has real issues, so so it becomes its own like thing.
These cups are ounces? This ounces.
I'd be so impressed with myself if that was
How long ago did you do this text?
I did it a little while ago.
Okay.
I should probably do it again, actually.
Like,
Just-
did you do it when,
Mhm.
okay, so that would have been like
Like
2
June.
months? Okay.
Maybe. I would think, I'm not sure what, I think some things have changed there probably. Do you want me to run through it again really quick?
I'm fine without it.
Okay. Maybe yours are in better order than mine. I don't know why mine's all like.
Mine are weird too.
We had some different ones for versions.
It's interesting, there's a lot of other stuff as I'm sitting thinking from a not a client perspective, there's other things I'm like, oh, that would be meaningful, oh, that would be
Oh,
meaningful.
wow, what would you like to share?
But I don't know if it would impact what you do differently.
I think it's just kind of that you haven't mentioned it would be worth
I don't
mentioning that
know.
it seems like relevant,
I guess,
that would give like a fuller picture or something.
probably not.
When you say upper quadrant,
Yeah,
so what do you mean by?
It tends to be my left upper, but it's sometimes my right too, but my traps.
So just
my
through there.
neck,
Okay.
my jaw, and I have issues with Team J. I'm getting some of my PTs or chiropractic therapy kind of stuff is for neck, jaw. I dislocated my SC joint. They think probably all because of the tension and stuff in my neck was kind of like what led up to
Uh-huh.
I tend to really hold stress. So upper quadrant is kind of like this whole left
Yeah.
upper, but it would probably be both more than, but it's definitely more left.
Or the left.
Headaches that come here,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
Okay, good to know.
and curiously though, we move in planes, right? So like my right labral hip tear,
Yeah.
my left upper quadrant, curious that those two cross, like those
Yeah.
are my, it's just real interesting. I busted up a bunch of ribs on the left side.
A car accident?
That was a horse accident.
Of course.
I
Okay.
had a concussion, hit my head really hard, skiing accident, left side. I think that was when my jaw started.
Everything kind of compensates in relation
It's
to the
amazing.
other things, like almost like protective wise,
Mhm.
but
So several whiplashes. From the car wrecks. those
yeah.
were-
And it all must contribute to
Yeah.
all of it. It's just like a lot.
And since I'm only 20, the older I get, the more you realize all the overlap.
What's your age, Amy? 41. Like 20 years worth of, like when the horse thing happened.
My first bad car accident, I was 16.
16.
The one that was the really problematic was when I was 21.
Okay.
And then I broke my tailbone like 3 times. Kind of busted myself up a few times, but that was horses. And then the horse accident where I busted my ribs and really hit. That was in 09.
Okay. That's
Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. Diagnosed ADHD a long time ago. Treated it for years and years and years.
once you have it, it's good for you to start hearing. Keep function better than that.
Yes, I would say that's probably true. But I can undermine myself. I can't help it. With, I would say depression more than anxiety. Anxiety, I'm pretty good at keeping structure if I'm anxious, but if I'm feeling down, then the structure can be really hard. Like, but doable. Especially I think if it's externally imposed. Like when I teach, I am always here. But if you're like, hey, you want to go to class at 5:30? That's unusual for me because traditionally I would always want to go, but I've been kind of in a low place. Yeah. But if there's an external structure or an expectation from someone else, I'll get it done. And so I think this actually is this kind of stuff that would be beneficial. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah. What yoga the most, like the physical asana frees up? Like what do you find that just brings the most relief?
It's hard. Things with straps. Like stretches, like opening kind of, and like big shoulder stretch, because it's fundamentally becomes this,
Yeah.
you know, the way in which you hold it, so it's like opening, like not like hard, not like camel or something, because that I can still be totally restricted. My
Yeah.
shoulders are still, it's like things are my, honestly, it's like strappy stuff where I can open. Even just gentle stuff like joint
And
thing,
having to open.
that thing like this, that's as far as I can, like some weird stuff as far as,
Yeah.
sometimes it's micro movements that actually end up being really beneficial.
Yeah.
Because that's where you can't compensate like this. You can't recruit somebody else to overpower. I'm not sure where the restriction is.
Yeah.
But anyway, does that help?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
I haven't done a lot of yin, probably yin would be beneficial because you have those openings.
For the connective tissue or
Well, yin is generally more, I mean, like, you certainly can have like a heart opening like sequence, or like, generally speaking, it's a lot of like
Going inward.
folds. And
Yeah.
and if this is your natural state,
Yeah.
this is
Curiously enough, even as you just did that, one of the things, I think I was in a constance of anxiousness during my marriage. And the revelations of late is like knowing, I think that I can do this again.
yeah.
Like literally and
It's like you
figuratively.
crave this. It's so very one.
Yeah.
How does that work? I just think it was cute.
I really miss that, but I think I was in that constant, like,
Well, it's protection. This is
Yeah.
protecting
and
yourself.
so protecting, like, anyway, that's a difference.
You don't need protection anymore.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there any like particulars outside of asana that really interests you about yoga, like mudra, meditation, chanting?
Do you know what's interesting, mudra? I'm really interested in mudra. I have that mudra book, and I really started doing some. I would definitely mudra. Chanting also, I would say mudra chanting. And pranayama too.
Go back and look at this, go back and read this, go back and read this.
Yeah, I would say definitely.
I think I'm gonna spend the month in
Meditation
November.
is not hard for me because I think I feel like I'm a perfectionist. I think I feel like I do it wrong, so then I don't want to do it.
Because it's
Right.
just been
That's been
too
really
much too
eye-opening
fast.
because
I can't.
if you don't try, then you can't fail.
Pieces to a jigsaw.
And I think there's been some about me with meditation. Like guided meditations, I don't really enjoy, like really guided, but I'm finding mentally guided, I can do this, like there's, or just giving myself permission to have a 3-minute meditation or something
Yeah.
instead of, it needs to be 2.5 hours, it's gonna be perfect. So I think perfectionism has been really arresting me. So yeah, like as you were planning out what I could do, I think it would be, I don't know.
Was there an end to that sentence?
Well, I don't know what it was. That I stopped saying it, not because I was self-editing. Maybe I just didn't know what the sentence was.
I just couldn't tell if it's something that you wanted to
Yeah, I couldn't either quite.
working into, or if it's something that you don't want to approach at this time.
Because you still got
Meditation.
Oh, I don't know. I would definitely want
energy.
some.
Exactly, that's all this creative.
So much. Oh my
Yeah, you're literally just displaying
God.
your
God.
life.
How appropriate is it to tell your clients that you love them?
Oh, no, this is good practice for me in every way. So thanks.
Sorry, I just was like, hey, what is happening? What do you first?
Okay. Actually, that was really good. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
See, okay, this is maybe teetering between I'm a client and I'm not one of your classmates.
That's what I want.
So I have a so I'm I don't know if I'm going to say if it matters. I'll say it because I don't want to
Well,
like.
what's happening later? I mean,
That's true. Save it for later. Afterwards when it won't happen.
Yeah.
No, I think I wouldn't tell you if I was a client. So I think I won't tell you as a weird classmate.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'll say for later. Later.
For when we're just your friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm
Yeah.
That's what later is.
Yeah. Later when we're her friends.
You take your hats off.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks for
girls.
asking.
How are you?
all right.
I'm great. Good.
Well,
again.
I mean, for me, where I'm at and everything, it went really well for my expectations.
Can I listen to you?
Yeah.
I want to listen to you.
It does.
That's how we're learning.
No, this trip, oh yeah. I mean, it wasn't perfect by any means, but I felt like I
Yeah.
I did what I wanted to do, and yeah.
That's awesome. That's all you need,
This
right?
is overwhelming.
It really was all I needed. Perfect. Yeah.
Not to do
Well,
with
you know,
anyone.
it took me this long to figure out.
Because we always got to look at our stuff ahead of
It's
time.
like, gotta make mistakes, and that's fine.
Well, I'm overwhelmed. Let me hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna listen like a wow.
No, I know.
Or
It's like a
or
constant
interject,
dialogue
which
I'm
would you
having with myself.
Whatever.
Interject
Okay.
a
If I'm like,
Yeah, I know you really like this group work too. Yeah, I mean, like that's part of it too, right? You know, like looking at, yeah.
So that you can check it out.
So, things that really stuck out to me to do today would be kind of like, just a well-rounded like yoga experience. Kind of, I mean, like I'm on sadhana, but like with maybe a guided meditation to
Give structure, like kind of remove her need to make it harder than it is, or just give some ease, bring some ease to it, right?
yeah. And pranayama, possibly some mudra chanting, and then it's for movement, you know, especially from what we saw yesterday too, which I know like some people like somehow beneficial, like a restorative or like joint free series might be, especially since we know that she's already had more of like a repeated or like warming vinyasa practice this morning to be able to work the hips, because that was what stuck out to me a lot, was like this upper quadrant and then the hips.
Do you have anything that like you can't do with like the hips, like what would aggravate
internal
it?
cow face legs, like internal rotation type stuff, no.
Yeah.
Revolved crescent, where you close the angle and so it's that, for me, it's that closed down angle.
Oh, yeah, I've seen you model size for that.
I always do,
Yeah.
I keep that real open, so it's,
Alright.
yeah, that would be probably all.
And then in terms of like Mudra, Shampoo, Pranayama, like lining that up with tools that were like at the first glance of depression, like at the end you could say, you know, this is what, you know, let's rely on these tools and start to see this and that, you know, since she's got
kind of catch
control on the anxiety, but the first,
Yeah.
even, you know, yeah, just pre-conscious thought, just dive into that, and then maybe like I would probably, I mean, you know, I definitely agree that you seem a bit rot that are aggravated right now. I mean, I think your diet is very vata.
It's ridiculous. It's
Um,
after Ayurvedic help even.
A lot of coffee.
A lot of and cold food.
And
I
cottage
mean,
cheese.
things that are drying like peanut butter, apple, like salads, you know.
Canned tuna, or so, you know, like, but I will cook, and I find that I cook more in the winter, curiously enough, so I think I do kind of that nesting, I do naturally, I'm very affected by seasons, and so this is a good time to implement change probably, because I will start to be changing the way I eat, because it gets dark out, and I kind of cook nature more, and I'll cook the chilies and soups and stews, and I'm actually much more grounded. That was an interesting observation John made of me one time, that I'm very different in the winter, because, and I think a lot of people not different, but you know what I mean, like we were talking about your just dizziness, and what he was actually saying is, maybe for today, this is totally about to aggravated in the summertime.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, remember those two kind of playing each other.
I'm Pitta Vata. Yeah, so, anyway. But that's the part where I was starting to say I could refill it out again, because just in the last month I've been really feeling depressed. So probably there's more kapha stuff than when I filled this out, because when I filled it out, I was, but
I wouldn't align that with kapha.
Okay.
Necessarily. I see just, I mean, based off of your other stuff, which I guess I don't know how recently you filled the other questions out.
Just
but-
recently.
Okay, I would definitely, I mean, like a lot of vata, which, yeah.
Can be, that is the,
Mhm.
yeah. The one thing that I didn't mention that might be, but this isn't always Ayurvedic, but if you were doing like Ayurvedic thing, I haven't had weight fluctuations in years, but I did when I was younger. So some of the two major spots. Okay, but that's probably been 20 years that I've been more or less. Okay,
How do you feel about that outline? Is that
I
real,
like that outline.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, let's really quickly, do you want to break up, so, and let's try to be done, so let's give her a 30-minute practice.
Yeah.
Let's take 5 minutes to maybe, or like less if we can, just pick out a couple. Like,
Yeah, what, I think we are, yeah, you do. There's something.
Yeah, it's like if a client came in for a private class, you'd give them a, yeah.
Do you have any, like, what you'd like to pick out of this stuff? Under movement?
Is there any way, like, with the mudra and the chanting, like, I really, like, immersing myself in what I think could help with, like, focus and anxiety and depression is like a kirtan kriya, and that kind of brings the mudra and the chanting together. In time, in terms of time, it can be, I can shorten it, like I can do like a 1 minute, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, and it'd be 10 minutes, maybe 8, 1, 1. It ends up being long just because
I like
Ease
to
out
like
it.
this.
maybe a minute to come out of it or so, but it's under 10 in that way.
So I do like that idea, especially for like the, like trying to kind of combine things for today. My only thought is I wonder, written down like with the structure, like maybe just trying to give her tools to take home to like sprinkle things in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would be realistic. Do you think it would be realistic for you, Amy, to like, when you start to, you know, feel these things bubbling up, to be like, I can devote 10 minutes, like, no, it needs to be less.
I'm usually already in my car.
Oh.
Like I'm driving and the sad song goes on, and then all of a sudden I'm like just then it hit me and I was like,
like breathing
So-
like could be a go-to, which
Literally-
you've already been doing.
But if you had some specific techniques, I would totally, or even mudra, like do like.
Just an instant.
Yeah, as soon as I park the car,
Yeah, as you,
even as I'm
Did you
driving,
like
I can
pull
start
over
to like
sometimes?
breathe.
you can continue driving.
But not recently.
Okay.
It'll just hit me like a wave. Because it's grief, you know,
Yeah.
But then when I park, because I work alone so often,
You have to
I drive all the time,
Yeah.
and that in between time that I'm driving, I'm by myself. And so instead of allowing my mind to go, that's where I've got like listening to guided meditations and Buddhist philosophy and mindfulness stuff and really sculpting and because I found that was when I was really going to the south, was when I was by myself in the car and my thoughts.
Yeah.
That breath, that kind of stuff when I park, but I wouldn't have 10 minutes probably. It would just be a couple of minutes to shift gears. But a mudra or something, those are things I could do a lot of throughout my day.
So that's my thought.
I like that. Something just quick, easy, like an instinctual impulse thing to just do so that you could work through those moments.
And then, but like something more, I certainly could do like a kirtan if that was something I did regularly, but it wouldn't be like in an instant. That would be like maybe in mornings or evenings or whatever.
Work it in somehow.
Yeah, because I certainly would be agreeable to that.
Yeah, and you did list off sadhana aid. Are you thinking about like things to like add in or tweak about your sadhana?
I think again it's that perfectionism arresting me. So not feeling like I'm doing it right, then will arrest me in doing it.
Yeah.
But if I think honestly, if it was like, here's what you need to do, then I really am doing this right.
Yeah.
There's a piece of me right now that kind of
So even more structured.
yeah. It's
Okay.
I think that would be so maybe that's what I meant by that. You know,
Okay.
some guidance, like even though I know, I need someone else to know for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. And chanting I can do a lot of in any time of day because I can do that when I drive.
Yeah.
So that's just FYI, because I am by myself.
Yeah.
I'm in the pool by myself, so I can chant to my dog all night. I mean, I have a lot of time alone to do a lot of things, but also, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you resonate with when Shanti Shanti was here that had Garain May?
I've listened to that a lot. But then sometimes I'll find it start crying.
Right.
But
I don't
that's
want to
okay.
like too many emotional releases, but like something
That's
that
the
would
same
ground
thing.
you.
Mm-hmm.
But that has a protective function. Like that's the one she said that like before you drive, that's when you could say it has like that 11-second like bubble around you. But it does have a protective function to it, so that you're not like having things come upon you that you're not protected against. So
I would totally be open to that.
after you may I need that one. That might be one you could go to one.
Well, and that's really interesting you said that because there have been times during my self-care where I've just stopped doing what I'm doing and I just start like chanting down because I struggle to bring in any, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could ground myself in that.
It's already grounding you, so you can build on that.
Yeah.
You can continue. Was there a mudra that seemed resonant with like depression?
I found it's Yana Mudra just now that this is.
That one, I just was looking on your last night. Yeah.
Is there one that you're working with currently though?
I don't know what this one is called. Now that it's resonated with me though, I've been trying to work with it. It's supposed to help with anxiety.
Yeah.
This one can help with like a point of focus and brings together, since like all our fingers are in use with all of the elements, which I think since there's kind of a lot, like we go that way, downward fold, depression, but then there's the pitta and the vata, something to kind of bring them all together.
Yeah, I like that. And it's easy, like I could be literally doing
Yeah, and
this
you're
anywhere.
meeting around people.
I'm totally grounded in it. Yeah.
Is
Because, yeah, when I'm not alone, I'm trying to be charming. Those are my two. So this would be good in between.
this was my idea of an outline, and it's like just kind of incorporated throughout as much of it as we could.
Oh, just the acrylics, those are good, those are just balancing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then we could just kind of pick and choose if we can.
Yeah. That's good.
But we've got to get.
That's good, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to just, how do you want to teach this? Do you want one person to take?
We could split it up. I have to look online. Do you have these here?
I gave mine away to
Yeah,
someone.
mine, Eric kind of got them.
Okay, I can look it up
Oh,
online.
that you guys.
No, the
the
Joint
the
Free
Joint
series.
Free series.
Oh, yeah.
You're thinking for upper body?
Yeah.
Are there ones that are really resonated with you? Like, oh, that opens that up. Of these,
A lot of them, but I haven't done them consistently.
like these guys with the neck.
Maybe if I did them consistently, I think the one that really helped a lot was this one.
Ah, I see you're doing that against the wall.
Yeah, those actually were real challenging for me. This one, honestly, I'll do too, because it's,
Those microarrangements that you have no choice but to.
and I can't quite get it.
Yeah.
You know, so like some of those, whereas this, and these things, I've been doing those for so many years that I think I still go back, I probably like pull this. They're not as unusual to what I've traditionally, like this kind of stuff's super different for me.
Yeah.
This stuff, I think
We can get enough of that.
yeah.
These, these things for,
Do you want to teach the joint?
I can teach these, yeah.
Is there anything else in here that really sticks out to you one way or the other?
Let's see, that the eight Koreas also. How long would this be?
I think we just kind of have to gauge it on time
Yeah.
because we've got now like 20 minutes.
Yeah. You just take that.
Yeah.
Could be you, because
I'm
the
happy
things
to
you
do that.
say are so nice.
I'm happy to take, yeah,
I can do like the middle. You could like do the beginning and the end. I'll do the
and
middle.
I'll do this too. Okay. Okay. Well, do you have a mat down here, or like, would you feel?
Can I borrow someone else's? Is that yours, Katie?
Yeah, we can borrow it, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I took mine. I got it in my car.
I'll pull it up to our little area. Is that good?
Yeah, we've got a little like nook right here if you want to, so that we're separate from them. You don't want to.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, because we don't need this one anymore.